Hi crafters, it's Marianne. Welcome back to the channel. This is Marianne from MA Designs. Today we're going to make a card for a masculine card for a male birthday. So if that's something that you sometimes struggle with, keep watching. This is a great idea. This is one of those ideas that you can tailor to whatever taste you need or your recipient would like. So today I'm going to take inspiration from a shirt that this guy who's going to receive this card wears all the time and loves. So I've got these strips. I don't know if any of you remember these. These are so old. They're from Papermania and Do Crafts back in the day. So I'm just pulling out 3 strips there. This shirt that I've popped on screen is the inspiration for the card. So the guy who I'm making this card for wears this shirt a lot and loves it. He's obsessed with Italy. He's so proud when he wears this shirt. So I'm going to try and replicate it-ish in card form. So I've got the 3 strips there of the tricolour, the Italian flag. So we've got the red, the white and the green stripe. And then I'm just rifling through a box of blue card, basically. So it's all loads of different A4 sheets of card that I've got over the years. There's some hunky-dory in there. There's some from... I can't remember the name of the place. A mill, basically, where you could get mixed boxes. I'll try and link it below if I can remember the name of it. But stuff that I've had literally for years and years, probably a decade. So I found a blue that kind of matches the shirt, and it's got a nice matte texture because I didn't want something too shiny. I think the glitter will be enough. And I've got some pre-scored 6x6 card blanks, but I've just measured it there using my guillotine trimmer because they say 6x6, but they're not always exactly 6x6. And this one was actually more like sort of 5.5. So I measured it just to make sure, and then I've cut a piece of the blue card so that it leaves, I think, 1/4 of an inch, I think I went for around the outside. And then just with the strip that was left, I'm cutting a triangle to make it look like a collar. So the shirt that I'm trying to copy is kind of like a polo shirt sort of style. Obviously, if you decide to do this, you could do it like a t-shirt, you could do it like a proper smart shirt, like an actual, a button down, like a gentleman's shirt. But there's loads of different ways you can do this. So I'm just cutting off a corner that's roughly the right angle that it's going to replicate the shape of a collar. And then I'm cutting a straight strip as well. That's going to be the plackets, I think that's the right word, where the buttons go down. So just lining this up against the card, make sure it's going to roughly be the right angle. But if not, don't worry, you can always trim it later, and ultimately it's just a scrap of card. And you've got, out of that A4 sheet, you've got plenty left. So if you muck it up, don't worry about it. It's just card. So you can see there, I actually adjusted that angle in the end and went for a sort of smaller collar anyway. And with what's left of that piece, I'm now going to just roughly by hand, I'm going to cut out a vague pocket shape. It doesn't have to be exact. Obviously, if you've got some dies that'll cut this out for you, make sure it's properly symmetrical, go for it. I tried to get this curve as even as possible just by eye, but it's not perfect. But it's handmade, and it's handmade with love, so it's all good. And I found some buttons. They're actually from like the family button box. I don't know if you guys have such a thing. A lot of families apparently used to have those in the old days, and somehow I've ended up with it. And I'm never going to put those on clothes. I don't sew. So I found 3 that matched, that were roughly blue in colour. They're reflecting the light kind of a lot on this in the camera, but they are actually blue when the light's not directly on them. So yeah, and then I'm going to just cut out a happy birthday sentiment because it's a birthday card. So I've got this one here. I can't remember the name. This might be one of those non-brand sentiment dies. Or it might have come from like an advent calendar or something. I remember Tattered Lace and Crafter's Companion did advent calendars a few years ago. So it might be one of theirs, but I'm not sure. But just use whatever you've got in your stash. Obviously, you might not be doing this for a birthday. You might want a different sentiment. One of the benefits of this card is it doesn't scream sentiment. It doesn't have a topper or a picture, and it's great for those guys who don't have a specific hobby, you know, or if you're sick of giving them football cards or beer cards or whatever their hobbies are. You know, I can imagine the guys who like to fish probably receive a fishing card every single year and get a bit fed up of it, to be honest. So this is great because you can personalise it to the person who you're making the card for, and it's going to be different from everything else because the shops won't sell this. So yeah, so I've die cut my sentiment, and I'm now gluing down these strips. You can see they're paper on the back, so you're not having to mess with all that glitter. This glitter does shed though, it's really quite old, and I sparkled for days after this. So yeah, just trim those off. They're really quite thick, so they don't need any extra dimension. Obviously you could use foam pads if you wanted to pop them up, but they're quite hefty. So I'm just going to delicately smash this die into my desk a few times until the die cut pops out. Honestly, I do have poker tools, but you know, where's the fun in that? If you can, if violence works, use that. So yeah, so I've got all my pieces now. I'm just deciding where to put this. I'm thinking, actually, the shirt doesn't say happy birthday, why would it? So now everywhere I'm trying to put this sentiment feels a bit weird. But I settled in the end on putting it on top of, like, above the pocket. So I'm just gluing the buttons on now, just using the tonic glue. I figured a liquid glue will be nice and strong to keep those on. And I will pop the pocket up on some foam strips because that wants a little bit of dimension. That wants to pop slightly off the shirt. I'm not worried too much about the dimension on here because I'm giving this card by hand, so it doesn't need to go through the post or anything. So yeah, I can afford a little bit of dimension here. I love these foam strips. They're great because you can see there I've cut them a little bit too long for the ends where the curve happens at the bottom of the pocket. But you can just curve the strips inwards, especially if you take off the paper from both sides. They become really bendy, really flexible. So you can see there I'm just peel it off and give it a bit of a corner there, and then it won't show as much. And the same on the other side. And pop that down. And then, I apologise by the way, I've gone quite a long way off frame. I think at some point while I was making this card I've nudged my camera, so I do apologise. I hope you obviously still get the gist of what I'm doing. It's a really easy card, so it's not so much of a tutorial on how to make a card, it's more of just giving you an idea. So you can see there I've just dotted a few bits of glue. I'm just using my tweezers there, the reverse tweezers, just to hold the die cut so that I can line it up straight and not get glue all over my fingers, and then pressing it down, and then I will glue this whole thing onto my card. I'm just pausing there to tuck the foam pads in. I've just got them a bit too close to the edge, and they're a bit, with it being dark card, they're just a little bit too visible, so I just poke those down with my nail. Debated whether to pop this up on another layer of foam, but I went for flat double-sided tape in the end. So I'll just stick a few rows of that on the back. Running low on tape, I'll have to find some more, but I definitely have more somewhere. So just peel all of this off. Oh, don't you just hate when you can't get the backing off? Or when it brings the tape with it? Anyway, it's fine. Just the everyday struggles of a crafter. All sorted. And then bring it back into frame nicely so you can see me sticking it to myself. And there we go, just sticking that down, like I say, leaving that border around the outside, trying to get it as even as I can. It's by no means perfect, but it's handmade. And then I am showing you the card, which you can only see half of. I really do apologise. But there are some proper pictures at the end, some nice close-ups. So there you go, you can see that shine on there. Just enough shine, but also quite masculine. And you could, like I say, you can change this up for anything. So you could do their favourite football shirts, or, you know, if they've got some club or sports team that they belong to. Lovely zoom in on the glue there, but you see the glitter. It's absolutely beautiful. And yeah, a really easy card. If you make some, please let me know in the comments how you would adapt it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye.